Welcome to Loving Yourself. This is officially the first episode. My name is Serena C, and this is not Serena C from radio or from TV because I used to tackle really on the surface topics, right? Now, I don't know, something happened to us after the pandemic, right? After COVID, we all look at life differently, and we've all, I don't know about you, but I have had some pretty life-altering occurrences during the pandemic. And I have a guest with me right now that had, wow, not one, but like at least 4 incidences happened to her that would make you look at life differently. So loving yourself is all about pouring back into yourself before being able to love someone else. Because you know, like when the plane takes off, you put your mask onto yourself before you give it to someone else. If you are not able to breathe, you're not able to help someone breathe. So that's the essence of the show, loving yourself. We tackle stories that are sometimes taboo. Like today, we're going to talk about infertility. We're going to talk about heart attack. We're going to talk about periods, stigma, you know. People are afraid to talk about most of these things. And these things happen to everything happened to this lady right here. My first guest is Ili Sulaiman.
Hi, thanks
Welcome
for
to my
having.
couch.
I know this is lovely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you like my living area?
Yeah, so chanty.
We are both so comfortable on a set. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's
like I
also
belong
because-
here.
Is it strange? Is it strange? I'm more at home on a set than in my actual living room. No, also because we both have TV experience.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't know, Ili is a fantastic chef from it used to be called AFC, Asian Food Channel. Now it's Network, you
Yeah,
said?
Asian Food Network. So they
Right.
rebranded themselves. That was like a lifetime ago.
Not at all, because you know her reputation will always live with her. She won. Tell me again, what was it you won?
So Food Hero Asia in 2015, and then I continued on doing multiple shows under them and also on Astro. A lot of people know me as the Mangkuk Tingkat girl because that was my first show is Diary Mangkuk Tingkat.
So cool.
Yeah, so I would like to think that I brought it back.
Yeah.
That was like about 11 years ago, but yeah, so much has changed since then.
Who's counting? The point is she made her mark in food.
Yes.
And even during the pandemic, we had Ili Pots. You know,
Yes,
we're going to link
correct.
all this for you where you can find out all about her food journey and how you can get a taste of Ili's like stamp because now you stepped away from Ili Pots, right?
Yeah, but there's a lot of story behind as to why I stepped down,
Yeah.
which I think we'll
Yeah.
dig into, right?
That's actually why I got her as my first guest because I learned about her heart attack that happened not too long ago.
Yeah.
I wanted to find out, like, you know, how do you move on from heart attack? If you follow Ili Sulaiman on Instagram, she's very open about, you know, things to watch out for and how she's feeling after the heart attack. And that is what got me. And I'm like, I have to talk to Ili because, you know, there are a lot of people who like, don't pay attention to symptoms. They don't even know that they may
Yeah.
have heart attack, and you know, just things to watch out for and how to move on in life after that. But then, after reading, it was not the only thing she went through.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about endometriosis.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about PCOS, which stands for
Polycystic ovarian syndrome, so PCOS or PCOS. A lot of people have different variations of how they call it, but yeah.
I made her say that because I cannot pronounce it. Okay? And that is what we're going to cover today. You know what? We might need 2 episodes, but let's
Yeah.
start with Ili. Ili went from corporate. She had to do with Prince William and Kate Middleton's wedding. What?
Yeah, back in England, that
did
was
that
was another
happen?
life. Yeah. So after I graduated from uni, I studied in England. I studied in London, Queen Mary University of
Oh, she forgot her
I
school
forgot
name.
my
It's okay. That very important school.
I studied in Queen Mary.
Right.
And then I graduated, and then the recession hit.
Right.
So I didn't have a job. I had all a job lined up and didn't
Oh,
have a
no.
job. So I had to start off as a receptionist in this fine dining restaurant called Mosselman's.
Okay.
And then I worked my way up. So I
Right.
was at reception for about 8 months, and then there was a job opening at events on
Right.
the event side. So I applied for the job and I got it. And then so I was with them when Kate and William were engaged, and then we
Yes.
were bidding for, you know, getting the
That's
the
right.
catering gig, which we did. So I was actually there, but we signed an NDA, so I can't elaborate more. But what I can say, it was a beautiful wedding. It was fun. It was joyous, and the whole team, we really enjoyed ourselves, like being of service. So
And you can actually tell the chemistry between those two.
yeah,
I mean, bless her
100%.
soul. I hope she's
Yeah.
doing well now with
Correct.
you know,
With the
cancer.
recent
Okay.
news, yeah.
So that obviously your journey with food has started like
Correct.
way before this, and it will probably continue on. So Ili Potts was, I would say, a passion project of you that you had to give up because of the heart attack.
Correct. So fast forward to currently. So I had a heart attack in January of 2024. And New Year's Eve, actually, I was admitted. Well, New Year's Day, yeah. So it's all a
How?
blur.
Because you felt the
So it's very different for women. I think
Right.
because of all the different sicknesses I have, I'm very in tune with my body when something's not right.
Right.
So the symptoms in women who have heart attacks very different from men. And we have a higher threshold when it comes to pain.
Oh, yeah.
So we try and mask it a lot of the time.
Right.
So the symptoms I had were very much similar to the symptoms I had, the symptoms I would say I had when I had my child. So
like what?
like lack of sleep, so tiredness, backache. I felt like the clench of jaw.
Yeah.
So I had like
Yeah.
this. I was like clenching my jaw, which I assumed it was stress because of lack
As
of
in
sleep.
sometimes, or
Or
when
like
you're
the
trying
entire
to
time,
sleep?
I'm just like,
Oh.
yeah, it's everything. You're just clenching your
Okay.
jaw, and
So
then
these are symptoms to watch out for, by the
Yeah.
way, if you think you're
Correct.
a woman who may have, was it mild or serious?
so it was mild.
Okay.
And then I had a headache
Okay.
that I couldn't shake off.
Okay.
And I felt extreme fatigue.
Ah.
Okay. So if I think about it, that's how I felt the entire time I was postpartum,
That's right.
right? That's
Yes.
what you feel, right?
A lot of symptoms overlap.
Overlap.
It's very
and-
hard to
Correct.
figure out.
And because it was towards the end of the year, it's like Christmas, New Year, I was busy, with the family. We had, we were entertaining. So you always think that you're making excuses for yourself as
Yes.
women. And what happened was that night, my husband took my blood pressure, and it was through the roof. It was
Right.
168 over 128, which is super high.
Wow.
So he gave me paracetamol and told me to rest, but he monitored me. The next day when I woke up, I was still tired after sleeping for 11 hours, which is crazy, right? You think you sleep and you will be fine. The next day I woke up, I had chest pains.
Right.
And that's when he was like, nah, we got to
Okay.
go. So we went straight to UM,
Right.
emergency, because it was New Year's.
Yes.
We didn't want to go to any private hospitals, and bless our, our local hospitals, our
Yep.
government hospitals, so efficient. The minute I gave my IC
Yep.
to me lying down doing my ECG and them taking my blood was 15 minutes, and that's when I
Fantastic.
knew it was really serious. And they
Okay.
told me, we gotta keep
Was
you
your
awake.
was your heart still hurting at that point?
No. So she asked me, do I have any underlying sickness? So I told her, I said, I have endometriosis and I have PCOS. And then she was like, okay, and you've had a child? She's like, yes. So she asked me, you had a child? I said, yes. And then she was like, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10 for your endo, okay,
Yep.
compared to your chest pain, what's the difference? I said, okay, my endometriosis is probably a 6 or an 8, which is really painful. Childbirth is about the same. My heart attack was a 3.
I thought childbirth would be 11. But
No.
okay.
But
Okay.
because I suffered from endometriosis, so pain
Yes.
that is
Yes.
excruciating for me. Like childbirth was like, oh, this is kind
That
of
is
like
true. That is
so
true.
like a 10 is if you cut my leg off. But so that's so when she said it's a 3, she's like, well, that's very common. So a lot of women, like, we are so used to pain that we don't realize that when we're really in physical pain, like a heart attack, we kind of say, yeah, it's a 3.
So basically, you had a heart attack and you did not realize it
I
until
didn't realize it
Yeah.
until I got there. And there
Yeah.
is a golden hour,
Uh-huh.
which is very important for everybody to note.
Okay.
When you have a stroke or a heart attack, is
Okay.
that when you have these symptoms, just go to the hospital, because they can fix you
Right.
within the 4-hour window, 4 to 6 hours.
That's 4 to 6 hours. And
4
if,
to 6
and if
hours.
you don't,
If you don't, your body will continue to send you signals to tell you something's wrong.
okay.
So prior to that,
Right.
me having these symptoms,
Right.
2 months before, I had really bad inflammation.
Okay.
I've never had problem with eczema or psoriasis or rashes.
Right.
So like these roselle pink cheeks itchy skin.
It's not the sexy Blackpink Jennie
No.
cheeks. No.
There's not like a blusher, like a tint or whatever. No, it's not. It's like this
I understand.
bumpy, itchy flare on your face.
Okay.
I had psoriasis on my scalp. I had eczema. I've never suffered from eczema in my entire life. So that's severe inflammation. So this happened 2 months before. And I now know that my body was already telling me
Yes.
that I needed to slow down.
Right. Was that your body telling you that you're about to have a heart attack, or it's just you're stressing your body too much?
You're stressing your body too much. So
Okay.
your body will tell you signals, and then if you stop, like if you don't stop or you don't change something, it will then sound the alarm, which is the heart attack.
Why do you think that your body was sending you signals? Were you particularly stressed at that point? Were you going
I
through
think-
something?
Yeah, I think it's a lot of a combination of things. So, a lot of women who suffer from polycystic ovarian syndrome or a hormonal kind of
Yes.
a hormonal disease, I would say, if it's not managed, and there's many different ways to manage it. You can lead to heart disease. It can lead to diabetes. It can lead to cancer. Okay?
Okay.
Right. So these are the common 3 big illnesses that you can get from PCOS.
Okay, and that is what we are getting into next, because she didn't just, the heart attack is what culminated, right?
Correct.
So this actually started with endometriosis and then PCOS.
Yeah. So PCOS. Yeah, I found out
PCOS.
that I had PCOS, and then endo came later.
Oh, okay. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I thought it was the other way around.
yeah.
Okay, obviously a lot of people don't even know what these two terms mean.
Yes.
So how did you find out you had PCOS, and what is that? How do you explain that?
So polycystic ovarian syndrome affects 1 in 10 women.
Right.
That study was done in 1997. So I'm sure that there's a lot of women. I think it's more like 9 in every 10 women.
So is PCOS is not stress related,
It
right?
is stress related.
Oh, it is.
Yes. So it actually lives within you. It's genetic. So most likely, if your
Right.
mom or your dad has it, most
Okay.
likely you would have it. But it only flares. I use the word flare very. I thread very carefully with the flare because it comes in waves. So women who have PCOS, the first thing that happens is your period stops.
Right.
Okay, your period stops. So you should have a healthy cycle, 28 to 32 days on the dot. So you should bleed every 28 to 32 days. So your first signal is your period stops. Second is you start having breakouts, acne, or you start having hair randomly all over the place that it shouldn't be, like on your chin.
I heard about that.
yes.
Androgens.
Yeah.
You have hair where normally men do.
Yes,
Right.
correct. So your testosterone, so it means your
Right.
hormone levels are imbalanced. You can't shift your weight. So
As
a lot
in
of
you put
women-
on weight.
You put on weight and you
Okay.
can't do anything. No dieting, no amount of exercise does anything.
Is it
And then
purely genetic, or can you develop PCOS?
you can develop it
Oh.
because of lifestyle as well.
Okay, so it's stress or genetic.
Correct.
Okay,
Yes, stress
okay.
or genetics. And then the other common thing that you can only do if you go to see the gynae, gynae,
You can say that too.
gynae, because
I'm not gonna
yeah.
judge. Okay.
So if you go and see the gynecologist, is if you have cysts on your ovaries. But that's why it's called polycystic ovarian syndrome. It has nothing really to do with cysts on your ovaries, because you can have all the other symptoms and not have polycystic ovaries.
Right.
But you still have PCOS.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my period stopped. Didn't have it for 3 months, and the only reason why I realized I didn't have it because I was so busy was because I was like, hey, wait a second, I was doing my I'm very good with like finance. I was doing my books,
Yep.
and I stopped buying period products. And I was like, hey, wait a second. And I was like, oh my God, I haven't gotten my period in like 3 months.
Yeah, but see, that happened to me also when I was in my 20s, and my gynecologist put it down to stress.
Yeah.
She did not do any tests to, ascertain if it could be PCOS.
Correct. Yeah. So it's you need to find a doctor. There's a gynae as well as an endocrine doctor,
Endocrinologist,
that
yes.
work together.
Oh my.
So it's kind of like dual. You need 2 kind of doctors, and that's
Alright.
why, like in our persatuan, we make sure that we have a panel of doctors that are known. Most of our doctors are women, and they have PCOS as well.
Right.
So we are able to, really support the community that we're in.
Understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
So with PCOS, that was So that's how I found out. And when I found out, it was almost quite scary because I was like, oh my God, polycystic ovarian syndrome. The first time you hear it, you're like, do I have cancer?
Yes,
And then they're like,
I would think so.
And they were they did a scan, and
Yeah.
they literally, I could see cysts, and I thought those are tumors, like
Yeah,
your
of
brain
course.
just goes there, right?
No, because cysts and tumors, sometimes people get confused too.
Yeah, and
Okay.
I didn't have anyone I knew that had this. I've never heard about this before in my life. So Dr. Google, and then when you Google it, it's all Western
Yes.
context, and then I had this amazing platform, and I felt so alone when I found out that I started talking about it. And when I
Okay.
started talking about it, that's when I got connected to other women.
That's fantastic because also because you're also an influencer. You know,
Yeah.
I find that I mean social media sometimes we're like, okay, so toxic, but when you use it for
Good.
good,
It's
the
really
amount
good.
of the amount of connection that you can make
Yeah.
for something good that leads to your persatuan,
Yeah.
it's amazing. So I mean, okay, I won't keep you more on that because it is a very broad topic.
Yes.
PCOS. You should actually check out at least the Instagram profile,
Yes, correct.
which is PCOS.
PCOS Malaysia.
PCOS
as
Malaysia spelled out,
Yes,
okay.
and then we also have our website as well, which we will link below, so you can find out more. So we're just a great community of women. All of us are entrepreneurs, or
Yes.
we are normal women. We just have this huge community of. We have everyone our youngest member is a 9-year-old girl.
9-year-old,
Yeah,
and
she's
you
probably
can get
she's
that?
10 now, but yes, because
Wait, she has PCOS?
Yes.
I thought it's not when you can.
yeah,
you know?
so girls develop a lot faster now. So she got her period when she was 8 years old.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
all
So
right.
the minute you become mature, that's when you
Yes.
yeah. The
What I
minute you
heard is,
the minute you
yeah,
get your period.
yeah, when
that's
you
it.
get your
When
period,
you get
you-
your period, you
have a chance of
you
that.
have a chance of that.
So
correct.
basically, she had irregular periods, and
Yes,
she was.
and people always say, oh, when you start you're having a period, it will be irregular. Yeah, it should be irregular for the first 3 months, but
Right.
it shouldn't prolong for a year.
Okay,
right?
so that's PCOS.
That's PCOS,
So
yeah.
you got diagnosed with PCOS first. Endometriosis.
So
how?
I didn't listen to my body. So when I was diagnosed, I didn't know what I was doing, and obviously there was not a lot of information. So my doctor just said, you got to lose weight.
Okay.
And do some yoga, and then don't stress. I'm like, okay. I'm lucky that she didn't put me on the pill, because a lot of women are put on the contraceptive pills,
Yes, I
which
heard.
screws up your hormones even more, because
Oh.
it's like a mask. It doesn't really actually fix the problem.
Because one of the first thing I read about, combating endometriosis is the pill.
No.
So, okay, that's a misconception,
That's
just so you know. All
yes,
right.
yes,
So how
exactly.
do you manage?
Yeah. So when I didn't manage, so what I had to do was, now I know better, is that I didn't manage my PCOS. And what happened was my periods were irregular,
Okay.
continued to be irregular. I did try to change my lifestyle, but running a restaurant, doing shows, shooting here, there, it's like long hours.
Yes.
You never really kind of get any rest. And then I was also going through a lot of personal changes in my
Right.
life, like friendship breakups, and
Oh,
which
that
are so bad.
sucks.
Yeah, they really hurt.
Of course.
And they hurt more than relationship breakups, I feel.
because friendship, I mean, they become family after 7 years,
and these are core family people that I've been
Yeah.
in my life for 20 years. And I think that really, and I fell into the spiral of depression.
I understand.
So the depression masked with the PCOS, with being hormonal, it just threw me out of whack. And I feel like that was when I started to develop endometriosis. Because endometriosis is actually a flare.
Right.
It's like some women they have endo
Yes.
because of a flare, like I
Right.
said. Or some are born when they have it straight, it's genetics, and they just continue to have it. And the
Right.
problem with endometriosis is it's so hard to detect.
Endometriosis is basically the cells growing outside your uterus.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
And then it's like a blood sucker. It just continues to grow with your menstrual cycle, and it feeds
Yes.
it. And it can be stuck in any part of your lower abdomen. So
And I heard it also can affect your kidneys.
yes.
Oh,
So
my
it can
Lord.
even like attach to your gut or your
And
your
these things cannot be
bowels.
removed.
It can. with
these are the surgery ones.
Yeah, surgical, it can be moved. So
Okay.
I started then when I did have my periods, I used to have really bad cramps. So after I was diagnosed with PCOS, my periods didn't come. And then when I did have my periods, it was really painful. But then, everyone says, it's normal.
Yeah.
You should not be in pain when you have your periods, girls. That is not normal.
Well,
you
I
know?
mean, pain to a certain level, yes. I mean, my sister,
No
she
pain.
used to
You should
be
not
on
have
the ground.
Yeah, you should not have any
Yeah.
pain. What you should have is just a bit of numbness.
Right.
You should have a bit of numbness in your
So
vaginal
if you're on
area.
the ground and like bedridden, that is not normal,
That
right?
is
You
not
should get yourself
normal.
checked. And how do you get yourself checked for endometriosis?
So
the gynae
with
as well?
yes, with gynae as well, but with endo it's a little bit tricky because, like I said, the cell can be outside of the uterus, and when it's outside of the uterus, it's a different doctor.
What doctor
It's-
are we looking
yeah,
at?
so you're looking at your gut doctor, so your
Gastrointestinal.
Yes,
You see the
gastrointestinal.
amount of people that you actually have to see, and that's why we
Yeah.
have to address this issue because a lot of women don't know where to go.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah. You can
So-
always just DM me. I'll tell you where to
yeah.
go. I
She
have a
knows
list of doctors.
She knows everything. Yeah,
I also know cardiologists now.
So basically, the gynecologist is not your endpoint.
Only
Yes,
doctor,
correct.
yes.
You have endocrinologists, you have
Yes.
gastro and all that.
Yes.
So,
So like for me, for instance, my endometriosis was so big, it had squashed my right ovary.
Oh my
And
gosh.
it stuck itself to my bowel.
and that you found out when you went to a gastro.
So this is when I found out when I went for my 6-month checkup with my gynae for
Okay,
my PCOS.
I
And I
see.
told her, I said, I don't know what's wrong, but I'm getting a very serious pain. And my pain was not just during my period. It was also when I was standing up for long hours. And because I'm a chef, I'm always
Yes.
on my feet,
Yes.
right? And I used to get these sharp pains that would, from my back,
yeah.
from my bum, right down to my knees and my legs,
My
almost
Lord.
like tugging.
Yeah.
Right?
I read it was 5 cm.
Yes,
right?
yeah,
Oh my
5.5
gosh.
cm. Yeah, so
5.5 cm is
besar, very big. Yeah, it's big. So 5.5 is about that big. Yeah. So yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So the problem was because it was stuck to my bowel, and
Yeah.
we only found that out once the doctor went in. So I decided in 2020 to go in for surgery in
Right.
December of 2020 because it was affecting my life.
yes.
I can't stand, I can't sit. I
Yes.
was in pain. So we decided to go to do the surgery, and then we did do the surgery. And once the doctor was inside, then he was like, haha, that's why you were in pain, because it was stuck to the
Was
bowel.
it a scope or ultrasound? No, it was
no.
not.
They call it endoscopy.
Endoscope. Yeah,
Yeah.
you go in with the camera and that's
Yes,
when, oh
yeah.
my
So
God.
I have like about 5 holes in my stomach. The recovery was I treated it like confinement.
Right.
Yeah, because I said to myself, look, this is
How long was the recovery?
about 3 months.
That is not confinement.
Yeah,
Okay.
about 3 months before I could really feel.
Yeah.
So after the surgery, I took really like 2 months off
Yeah.
from work. I didn't do anything, and it
Were
was
you
during COVID.
bedridden?
No, no.
Oh,
no.
so you can
Yeah,
function.
you have to walk.
Oh,
Like, so the doctor's like, I'm not
okay.
going to feed you until you walk. So very similar to like pregnancy as well. Like after you give birth,
Nice.
after you have a C-section, that's what
Yeah,
they do as
yeah,
well.
yeah,
But you can't heavy lift anything, and then
Oh, it's
obviously
exactly like a C-section then.
it's exactly like a C-section. Exactly.
Sorry, backtrack a bit. Okay, so PCOS is when you have irregular period, and endometriosis is very painful period.
Yeah.
That's
Or
what
very
I-
painful abnormal abdomen pain.
Yes,
So it can be anywhere in the abdomen.
yes.
Yeah,
And
so in the
I know
stomach
that
area.
both of them affect fertility.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Correct.
So PCOS like really cuts down your chances of
pregnancy.
pregnancy.
Yes.
Endometriosis as well.
Yes, because endo kind of blocks it.
Yeah.
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 And
And I learned that after your surgery, you got pregnant.
yes.
That's a good thing, right?
Yeah. So before my surgery, I did the work. So
Right.
I managed my PCOS because I knew that if I was going to go into surgery and I was going to recover from this, I wanted my body to at least be prepared for that.
How did you manage the
Yeah,
PCOS?
so I have an amazing list of doctors. Like I said,
Right.
an endocrinologist. I have my gynae. I have my gut and bowel.
My God.
And so I did a thorough blood test,
Right.
and you have to go to the right doctors to get this thorough blood test. So they test your thyroid. That's when I
Yes.
knew I had thyroid deficiency. And I did it in SGMC under my doctor, Dr.
Okay.
Christina Tai, but we also have Dr. 𝙂𝙪𝙚𝙾𝙀, who has a clinic in Subang,
Right.
who's part of our panel of doctors.
Okay, you can find that all
Oh,
through the
yes,
association.
correct.
Okay.
Yes, you brought through the association.
So this is a more than comprehensive blood
Yes.
test, because our normal blood test,
It's very basic.
it does not cover, okay?
Correct, yeah.
Especially thyroid. I had to
Yes.
go for like my liver function test and everything. So this
Correct.
is more than that. So you make
Yes.
sure you do that test
Yes.
if you think you're anywhere near the endometriosis or PCOS area.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. So my thyroids were low. So my T3, T4 were low.
This is hypo then.
Yes, yeah.
Hypothyroidism.
Hypo, yes.
Okay.
So that's why I was feeling very tired and fatigued, and I had a lot of hair loss.
Yep.
And then my insulin was quite high, so we know that I'm insulin resistant.
My
So
Lord.
PCOS has many different types. They have hormone, thyroid, insulin.
Diabetes related.
Yeah,
yes,
diabetes
okay.
related.
Okay.
So insulin resistant. That's why I can't lose my weight. I don't
Okay.
eat a lot. I
Yeah.
exercise. I'm always out and about. But
On
I
the other
can't
hand, your
shift.
collagen levels are fantastic. Really.
But I think that's Asian genes. Like, let's be real.
No,
No,
honest.
You look great.
Girl, we talk about that another time.
And so
yes.
yeah, so my insulin was high. I have thyroid, and then they also check things like your iron deficiency,
Yes.
your vitamin D.
Yes.
Because vitamin D deficiency is very common with women with PCOS. It's not because we're not outside in the sun. It's just that we just cannot, our liver doesn't
Process.
It doesn't, because there's a hormone imbalance.
Yes.
It just doesn't translate, and we need vitamin D because vitamin D is kind of like the gatekeepers to calcium.
Correct.
So without vitamin D, calcium can't go into the bones, and they
Yes.
have calcium deposits. So that's
That
why
is
women.
also thyroid related, by the way.
Correct. Yeah.
Yes.
That's why women with PCOS sometimes have calcium deposits and arthritis.
Yes.
It's
And
because of
that's
this.
actually very dangerous. I mean, that's for another day's topic.
Yes,
but
correct.
yeah,
But this
calcium
is all
deposits.
yeah. So
It's
this,
all related.
It's all related,
Yes.
exactly.
That's why
So-
you need to learn about that.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, did PCOS lead to thyroid, or did you have already thyroid
I think it's a
underlying?
I think it came hand in hand.
Okay.
Yeah. And so once I found out what my blood situation was like, what my deficiencies were, I knew what to supplement. And a lot of people are like, oh, take multivites. That's not enough.
Yeah.
You really need to understand the chemistry of your body
Yes.
to be able to understand what's the dosage you need to make your body optimum.
And this is through all these multiple doctors, or
Oh, no,
like,
just the endocrine.
the endocrinologist will
yes, correct.
prescribe
yes.
all this.
Correct.
Oh my.
Yeah, endocrinologists will prescribe all this. So basically, but a lot of it is off the shelf, like vitamin
Yes.
D3,
Yes.
like your calcium, your iron, your zinc, whatever that you need. It's all off the shelf.
But be careful, okay? You have to ask your endocrinologist like what dosage and what time.
Exactly.
Because there are
and
times.
when to take it.
And also you cannot combine some of them.
Yes,
calcium not with
exactly.
something,
Correct.
and then some has
But
to be
a
with
lot of
food.
it also, like, let's be real. With this, a lot of us don't have the means to.
That's right.
Right. So I also implemented things like what I could control, like food. Right.
Okay.
So I cut out gluten, dairy, sugar from my
Oh
diet.
my gosh!
And
you don't
what-
eat sugar?
No. So what I did was I went back to what doesn't have sugar, dairy, and gluten.
How do you do
kampung
that in
food lah.
Malaysia?
Kampung food. Santan.
Gluten.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, santan.
Yeah, you can eat like your masak lemak. You
Lemak
can,
don't have gluten. Ah yeah,
no,
you're right.
nasi lemak you can eat.
You are quite right.
Yeah,
Huh?
you can eat your Chinese food, your
Actually,
steamed
Chinese
fish,
food is very
Hainanese
low
chicken
in
rice,
gluten.
and you can get like substitute now, like gluten-free soy sauce.
Yes.
You can eat palm sugar, coconut sugar, which is abundant here. Gula melaka, all you can take.
You're
you cannot
right.
take refined sugar. You can eat fruit, vegetables. So I really looked at my diet.
Yep.
And exercise is also important, but the type of exercise. So women with PCOS shouldn't be doing high intensity exercise.
Right.
We should be doing like walks, swimming, yoga, a bit
Yeah.
of meditation, a bit about zenning yourself. So this is all I did. And the best thing about my diagnosis and how I became better was because of the pandemic.
Yes.
So I had time, girl.
Yes.
I had time.
Girl, I got more fit during the pandemic,
Yeah.
you know, because we were so much more zen.
Correct.
And we were so
We didn't
much
see
more
anyone.
focused.
Yeah.
Did you realize?
Yeah.
No, it was actually a good thing during the pandemic for this.
Yeah.
Okay. And
So
then-
then I prepared my body. So for 6 months before my surgery, because I knew when I was going to have my surgery. So when the pandemic hit, I was like, this is the perfect time for me
Yeah.
to start looking at my diet. I started reading so much because I had the time to read.
That's right.
So I had all sorts of books, like the period care book. I had, PCOS. There was
Right.
a lot of PCOS books. I just ordered a whole bunch online.
Right.
I started reading journals, like scientific journals about blood types and all this kind of stuff. And because I'm a chef, I was able to manipulate this into for my food.
Right.
And then I started sharing my journey online.
Okay.
And then when I did my surgery in December, I pantang. I did my confinement for 1 month, and I
Right.
continued doing it. And it's funny because all my life, a lot of doctors have told me I will never be a mom, so I kind of accepted the fact
Why? Because of PCOS?
because of PCOS and because of and because of my age as well. I was like 36, 37 at that time.
When you had your baby?
I was 36.
I was
37.
35 when I was 40-ish when I had number 2.
Yeah. So but you have to kind of, as a woman, you have to prepare yourself for these
Yes.
like big, not so nice news, right? So I always was like, okay, I'm never going to be a mom, but I'm going to be an awesome aunt.
Yeah.
But I said like this to myself, and I shared this with my husband. I said,
Yeah.
I'm just going to love myself, which is so apt for this podcast.
Oh, that's why she said yes to coming.
Yes. And it's like, I can only do so much within my locus of control.
Right.
I cannot control everyone around me, but I can
Yes.
control what I do. And that was my focus. So
Right.
my plan for 2021 was to focus on me.
Yes.
And I did. So after my surgery, I was like, look, blank slate, you got no more endo, let's do this. And
Yeah.
I did. I really looked after myself. I lost about 10 kilos
Right.
after my surgery because of just diet change,
Yeah.
supplements. And then in July, we found out we were pregnant naturally.
There you go. I had a lot of friends also who were from the corporate world, and then as soon as pandemic hit, they didn't even plan it. The body just kind of relaxed, and they got pregnant.
Yep.
They had difficulties before that.
Yep. Yep.
So how has that changed everything? I mean, after the surgery and after getting your baby,
Yeah.
like how are you as a body, as a person, as a feel? How does it feel?
I mean, I was one of those, I was so scared I was going to lose him because, women with PCOS also
Yes.
have a lot of problems with miscarriages.
Mm-hmm.
And, a lot of women, because I was so in the limelight with PCOS,
Right.
I almost was scared to share my good news.
Yes.
So I kept my pregnancy a secret for a long time, and I could because it was a pandemic, right?
Right.
And I was so scared to share. And I knew like a lot of my friends were also going through IVF, who
Yep.
also had PCOS, that because my pregnancy was so easy. I got pregnant
Really?
easy. I was so chill during my pregnancy. I had a little bit of nausea in the first month, but
Right.
I almost didn't have any PCOS symptoms. It was
He
almost
made
like
it easy for
my
you.
baby I could eat
Yes.
anything I wanted. I could eat bread for the first time after a year of not eating bread, and I had nothing.
Right. So,
And,
what normally are the complications that you could face during pregnancy with PCOS?
What complications?
Like how difficult could it
What
be?
complications do women have when they are pregnant? Those
With oh,
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Like it's all relative.
okay,
Right?
okay.
It varies from women to women. Like some women I know.
No, I mean
growing
like
up,
it's not more serious with PCOS.
you
is
just
it?
have to be a bit more careful.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the chances of miscarriage is higher.
It's
Is that
slightly
I see.
higher, yes.
Okay,
So
okay.
basically, your supplements that you have to keep taking, obviously your regular checkups, eat healthy, drink lots of water, all that
Right.
kind of stuff. But like some women had nausea the entire time.
Yikes.
Some women were bedridden, so it really
Yeah.
depends. So I was very careful because I didn't want to offend anyone also. And I was also scared. But what happened was I forgot that life after having a baby is very different. And that's when it comes back tenfold, right?
Right.
So once you have a baby, I still felt like I was amazing,
Yeah.
but it was hard.
Because
Because I had postpartum. I had
yes.
postpartum blues that
Yes.
turned into depression.
And how long did that last?
Oh, about a year. I had to go and see a
You knew that because you just
I
you
was
just
crying
felt,
nonstop for 30 days. So my whole confinement was just me crying. I stopped crying after the 30th day because I
Yeah.
had shoot. And I went straight back to work, which was really silly of me.
Sometimes people say that could be a good thing, so to take away take your mind away from the.
No,
Or it
that's
did
the
not?
worst thing to you for you to do
Really?
because your body,
Oh.
you're not okay.
I thought the distraction would be good. No?
No.
Okay.
That for me it
No.
wasn't great.
Okay.
So I think that was the downfall. I thought I could bounce back like
Right.
a lot of other women do.
Right.
And I think there's a lot of like this,
Right.
you have a baby and you look like
Yeah.
a superstar after. It's like, no, every woman is different and you
Hey
gotta
man,
respect
it's
that.
okay not to be okay.
Yeah, it's okay to be like
Yeah.
a really hot mess.
Hey man, most of us are.
Yeah.
Hey, don't believe Instagram, okay? I only post the nice stuff.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
I was a real hot mess, and I
Yeah.
felt and I really forgot my whole ethos of like loving yourself. Totally neglected myself, and I
You
think
forget
that was
that you need to love yourself first.
first. Yeah, I totally forgot to put
When did you realize that?
when I had the heart attack, which
Okay.
was 2 years after.
Okay, so the heart attack basically was a wake-up call.
Yeah, it was. It was a
Okay.
huge wake up call. When you get a second chance in life,
Oh, yeah.
like this was a huge second chance, and I
Yeah.
didn't realize how bad it was until I was laying in the cardiac
Yeah.
ward, and my mom and my dad came. I saw my husband's face and I saw my parents' face. That's when I was like, okay, it's like I need to live. That's when the penny dropped, and then when I had that time to sit now, because I was in the hospital for 4 days, I
Yeah.
slept for the first 2 because I was so exhausted. The next 2 days, I just literally looked at my entire life for the last 2 years. Had I ever had a moment to pause to take care of myself?
Yep.
No. Because everything was about baby, 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 baby.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
And work,
Yep.
and finding money. But I'm here in the hospital bed.
Yep.
I've got this drip on my arm. I just had a minor heart attack. And I probably have to have surgery, which thank God I didn't do. I didn't have to do. And I said, what's important?
Yes.
Like, why am I running around like a headless chicken for? So I then listed down a list of things that brought me joy
Right.
and the things that didn't bring me joy.
Right.
And I said, I have to hold myself accountable to this. And I realized that one of it was I don't find joy in working anymore, like the way I used to work.
Right.
I find joy in cooking,
Yes.
but maybe the way I'm doing it is not right.
So it is important sometimes to step back and do another checklist, isn't it?
Yeah.
But okay, now we know that the heart attack was the wake up point.
Yeah.
And I mean that kind of brings us back to the point of today's show, loving yourself. So do you think now you have reached almost 100% of loving yourself so that you can give more
Yeah.
to the ones you love?
I think so,
Yep.
Growth, right?
Yeah.
It's growth, right? So I'm in a different season now. And I feel that it's so important as a woman
Yeah.
to always continuously evolve.
Yes.
And your life will spin you out of control once in a while, but it's a matter of like capturing that moment and saying, what am I going to do with this?
That's
am I
right.
going to like wallow in sadness and like, oh my God, I had a heart attack? It's like, no, that's not me.
Okay, so I mean, basically, to conclude,
Yes.
you're loving yourself a bit better now. I mean, I can see that she's happy.
Yes.
And that's the point of this podcast, right? Loving yourself. What do you have to say as a final note to people? I mean, ladies especially, or girls especially, and, people who think it's taboo to talk about, my period's strange, it's not this and that, it's not. What is your final message to them? Maybe to talk about with their parents? Because
Yeah.
my mom threw me an encyclopedia. I didn't learn about the period thing,
Yeah.
and Malaysia as a whole.
I think what's the beauty of us now talking so openly about it is that we first have to remember that women, we are pitted against each other so much in our past, right?
Oh my God, yes.
But we're so much more powerful and so much more alike than we think we are. And also, healthy conversations around women is so important. Your friends, your siblings, your sisters, your mom. Start small, don't
Yeah.
jump into the big ooey gooey stuff, but
Yeah.
you can start having that healthy conversation with other women first.
And even if it's not people around, not your family, not your friends, there are always people like your association, you know.
Yeah.
They're on Instagram, and then, you know, they're taking a very serious issue and making it very relatable.
Yeah.
So please do check out the Instagram as well. And if you need to ask any questions, I mean, there's always DM. You
Yes,
can
there's
remain
always DM. You
anonymous.
can always DM me. I'm always talking to my community all the time. We do we do a walk every last Sunday of the month.
Right.
In KLCC Park at 9 a.m. We have women from all different walks of life that join us. So that's a great way for you to feel supported, because it's a walk, and you know, if you walk with a group of people, you always know you always end up with one or two people.
Yes.
So you don't feel overwhelmed, and that's the whole idea. And we're getting a little bit of sunlight in the morning. Even when it was drizzling, we still walk. And it's just so great, because like when women show up for each other, powerful things happen.
Oh, and that is a great way to end this show. Women show up together, powerful things happen.
Yeah.
And let's start loving ourselves a bit better so that we can love everybody else around us. Episode 1 finished. Thank you, Ili Sulaiman. What an episode.
Thank you for having me.